What's wrong?
What's going on?
It doesn't have the same like sound effect as a beer. A bottle of wine doesn't have the same sound effect as a beer, but when you're drinking it straight, it doesn't really matter.
That's disgusting.
Oh my god, are you really?
What happened?
Josh, is that what the show does to you?
Oh my god.
Josh is done with RWBY. This is the last podcast.
Okay.
It might be.
Is this gonna be a rehash of why
Zach,
I'm quitting RWBY?
What?
Zach, remember how we recorded that podcast before the volume, and we were like, there's no way this volume can possibly be good. But then while we were watching, we were like, hey, you know what? Maybe it is good. Maybe it is. But there's some weird shit, but maybe it is good. The whole volume, we were like that. The volume has since closing, and I've been able to reflect, look back, rewatch some episodes, really just dig into it and evaluate this volume as a whole. And I'm ready, boys. I'm ready to do it. Has some good moments. Volume 5 again.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say that like this episode was decent, and overall, again,
it was almost good.
Good moments. Yeah, it was almost good. it was watchable.
Well, let's introduce everyone here. It's your boy,
What?
Chap.
Oh, I fell asleep. I'm sorry.
I'm here with Go Gurno.
That's me, Go Gerdo.
Look you out of tube.
Jennifer, you don't have a nickname yet.
I was
What do you
about to
want your
say,
nickname
like,
to be?
it has to come naturally. You can't just pick one right now.
Oh no, that's Jordy. Jordy's J Money.
Yeah, Jordy. For right now, I'm the triple
Jordy's
L.
bread.
All right. Now.
I'm still the triple L. I'm still the
gonna-
locally
I'm
absurd.
I'm gonna cut the room right now.
I was literally.
No, I'm cutting straight to the talking points because I want to say it right now.
I guess I don't get to introduce
Split the
anybody
room.
else.
Do it.
All right, ready, guys? Here's the exact fact on how this volume went. Fact. That's the important word. The letter F.
Let's hear it.
Yeah,
Let's
fact.
hear it.
This
Objective.
volume was better than 4 and 5. For
Yes.
sure. Without a doubt.
Okay, I will agree that I was doing my bit earlier, but I will agree that it was definitely better than 5. No way is it better than 4.
Literally nothing happened in 4. Like,
I
actually
think
0
4
things happened in 4.
So
Four is-
the thing that I'm caught up on is not like I've been thinking about it. It's not this volume. And while I think this was the best of like the new RWBY, quote unquote, it is definitely the best, and it is so much worse than volumes 1 through 3. Like, it is unbelievable how like mediocre it is compared to them, that we would look at this and be like, yes, this is passable compared to the, like, this is good compared to the other ones, but overall it's like barely passable.
Well,
that's the best way to describe it. Barely passable.
Well,
It went from being the best show ever to barely passable.
But here's the thing.
The only reason that we're still watching it is because it was really good for a little bit.
But guys,
Yes,
what you're not getting is that there's a second part to my opinion.
What is it?
Not only is it better than 4 and 5, I think it's better than 1.
I don't think so. I think
No. Here is my sweeping argument for this one. I am going to say that the fights in this have been better than volume 4 and 5. Not saying they're better than the choreography in the first 3 volumes, but you have to admit the animation has come a long way. We've gotten a lot of really cool scenes and lore from this specific season. And honestly, 4 and 5 didn't do a lot. And season 1 has its faults, obviously, but I think overall, like, if I was going back to like rewatch a season, I think I would rather watch this one than 1. I've seen 1 1,000 times. It's fine, it's good, but overall, like, this season has a lot of meat to it. It really has a lot in there.
I
And
have
you can't
seen.
do that.
I think the key is that you have seen 1 1,000 times, but you could like barely. You can choose. Like, you might choose to rewatch this one, but you have seen 1 1,000 times. I'm the same. I'm the same way.
I'll-
I have seen one like 20 times probably, but I would probably never rewatch this entire volume. It's just bad.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you were saying, Alberto. I do agree that this definitely was. I mean, definitely like the fight with Adam was unwatchable. But I mean, other than that, though, I do agree that the fights were definitely better in this volume than I'd say 4 and 5. And I do agree that there were some great standout moments, like the whole Salem backstory was very solid, and I mean, like all the stuff when they first got to Argus, like with the sisters and everything, great. And there were like there were some other standout moments scattered through there, but overall, like it's just soulless. It's just going through the motions. It's not like there's nothing there anymore. It's the spark is gone. Like there's like the spark that was RWBY to me, like is just it's there's no presence to it. It's just we gotta keep going, we gotta go on, and there's just like it's yeah, we gotta do this thing, we gotta hit this beat, and it's like yeah, this may not be bad as I'm watching this, but the fact that this went from being my favorite thing ever to like almost like sort of a chore, like it's gotten to the point where like when RWBY comes out, I don't wake up and it's the first thing I do. It's like it would come out and I'd like wait till like the end of the day. Like
I've gone like entire weeks without watching the previous episode and being like, oh yeah, there was an episode this week.
I don't know. I guess I'm more confused than anything, honestly.
By what?
I feel like you guys have been pretty happy with this season so far.
I'd like to clarify that opinion because I do get where you're coming from, and like because I've been listening back to some of them in prep for this. I've been doing quite a little bit of prep for this, and it's if you listen back to our Volume 5 podcast, they were pretty positive. Like we were pretty positive about everything, and then it was only after that we came to realize. And I feel like I'm glad that we didn't record this right away because I've had enough time to rewatch. I didn't rewatch the whole volume, but I rewatched a couple of like the key episodes. I rewatched a lot of like listened to our podcast and everything, and like rewatched a couple of videos and stuff. And like I was able to process it, and processing it overall, like I was able to sit back and see like the good things it did just made it passable. Like the good things it wasn't like the whole thing was good with very few, like the show went from being this is amazing with a few minor flaws that you could overlook kind of to this is bad with a few good things that make it okay. Yeah, that's how I'd say it's progressed.
You know, I've been thinking about it, and I think there is a reason why it's more positive looking at it per episode than, like, as a whole chunk. And it's because I think that they are more interested in, like, selling you on, like, bits of emotion rather than telling a, like, coherent story. Whereas previously it was, it was a coherent story. And now it really seems like everything is, like, set up for an emotional hit that doesn't really have any story backing it. Or any, like, character backing it, rather. Or in addition.
I think it's more of a character issue than a story issue, because I think the story right now isn't bad. I think it's going in a pretty good direction, but definitely what I mean is like improving from Volume 5.
What I mean is they write these like episodes with like tensions building up to scenes where like, and the climax is someone gets hurt, but they always are like immediately better, and in the moment that's like high tension and you're like, wow, that was a that was crazy. That was hype. But then you look back on it as like a coherent story, and it's like, oh, nothing happened. It was like,
yeah, I think I agree with you. I think it's more designed, especially I noticed this volume, and like it was like it was almost more like this volume was almost more like the pacing of a Doctor Who season than a RWBY volume, where you have these like chunks of episodes or single episodes that tell like a story. It could be very interesting, it could be crap, but it's not like very consequential, and then there's a background story that's sort of building up. It was almost like that formula more than like a RWBY season formula. Like before, I'd say RWBY had like the Game of Thrones formula where it's one big story that's just continuing.
mm-hmm.
And now I feel it's more like, yeah, like I said, more like the Doctor Who. Like there is a story going on, but it's not the primary focus all the time.
Yeah, this one in particular was weirdly episodic.
And it's not that I didn't even like, it's not that I didn't like the episodic chunks. Like that whole thing with the what were they called? The underwater grim. Not the underwater grim. Oh my god.
The
well
apathy.
grim. Yeah, the apathy. I liked that.
I thought that was good. I thought that was pretty underwhelming in general.
It was good. It just didn't build to anything. Like I thought my theory with all was happening was that this was gonna give light to like an underground grim network. And it was going to give light to all the tunnels and how they were able, like, things in the past and everything like that with, like, the settlements and things like that. And I was like, oh, this is clearly what they're leading up to. And it just didn't lead up to anything. And while I did like it as a standalone story, like, I thought, yeah, that was really cool. But it was
I have a question for you.
Sure.
I just had this, like, epiphany, or, like, more like a what's it called? Like a thought. You remember Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course.
Isn't RWBY going for more that kind of structure now? Like, more, like, now that this is more what they're trying to do. They're doing, like, this globe-trotting, like, episodic, with also, like, some kind of, like, moving force in the background.
Yeah, but Avatar was that from the get-go. RWBY was not.
But here's my question. Here's my question though. Here's the question though. Is RWBY being Avatar a bad thing? Especially if they are improving the formula. I'm not saying they did it right at the beginning. I'm saying they are improving the formula.
I say it is a bad thing because they didn't build the infrastructure to handle that kind of story.
What do you mean? I'm confused.
Essentially, they set this up the way they were moving the character arcs, the way they were setting up all the characters, the way they were setting up the narrative, was set up to be I guess you'd call it a Game of Thrones type series where it's a single narrative all the way through, despite different characters in different areas of the world. It's a single story. And it was set up to be that, and the writing infrastructure that they put in for the first 3 volumes, like, it was set up in a way where it was ready to handle that kind of story. And then they changed it to the Avatar style. And then they put that on an infrastructure that was set up differently. And it sort of collapsed. And the transfer to that, don't get me wrong, that's not a bad thing. It's just that it's not being handled well because it wasn't supported from the beginning.
Wait, I guess I'm still confused because, like, explain to me how you build a character for a type of series, because I don't see the difference between RWBY being a beacon.
I think what he's saying is that, like, the story started out, or the show started out in, you know, telling their story in a specific way and setting up their characters to be resolved over time. and sort of abandon that in pursuit of like possibly, you know, going after a different style partway through.
But what was the huge overarching story in the first 3 volumes that this doesn't have?
Okay. I think a better way to describe it is that.
Well, but yeah, but that's just they're in school.
That's also
it was
super,
each volume they had. Yeah, no, each volume they had like a. They had a like goal. There wasn't really like episodic things.
Not really. Honestly, not really.
I don't remember
The first volume was Blake like fucked off, and then they found her. The second volume was just figuring out what the White Fang was up to, and then the third one was the Grim Attack.
First one was Torchwick.
Okay, I think like what I'm trying to say is that volumes 1 through 3, the way it was told was we're gonna do these incredible characters, character development, and just focus on their lives. And in the background, something is going on. And then at the end of volume 3, we had, okay, the background is hitting the huge character like build up that we've had in the foreground, and it all comes together in this like beautiful climax. And now they're like, okay, we finished the characters. We're done with the characters now. Let's just do pure plot and just write a story and forget we have characters.
We're done with the characters.
I don't agree with that at all. Especially concerning Weiss. Weiss has grown more in the last 3 volumes than the entirety of like 1 through 3.
I agree with you.
Blake too.
Weiss is definitely the exception.
Blake is done. Blake is over.
Blake's character arc is over.
No, now it's over, but that doesn't mean she can't stop being a character.
We're not done with the show. She's one of the main characters.
That's not the point, though. You don't have to resolve everybody's...
Characters don't have one arc and then they're done. Like, she can have different... People are multifaceted. Yeah. They don't just have one story.
I feel like that should come at the climax of the story, not just
look at Weiss,
this random point.
Who they did... Yeah, look at Weiss, who they did very well all the way through. Weiss, as I say, is the one character that they stuck with their original like style of character development for all the way through, and look how she turned out. Great. She became like my favorite written character in the show. Like,
but what happens next volume when she confronts her dad? Is she done too?
No, that's not necessarily true.
What's the difference between her and Blake? Compare this to Yang. I have no idea what. I'm very confused.
RWBY is also still growing as a character, like incredibly.
Yes. But okay, let me compare this to Yang, who started off as an incredible character with such a vivid personality. And yes, she experienced trauma, and yes, something fucked her up. And of course, that would definitely change her personality. But now she is like, instead of just becoming like, she should be herself with a burden. Like, yeah, like obviously something fucked you up, and obviously you're gonna act different.
Yeah, I feel like the best.
But Yang is now a shellless husk of a character that has no personality, nothing like. There's just nothing there. She's just the yellow-haired figure that's just there. Like there's just nothing for her anymore, and it's like what happened to this person. Like obviously she got fucked up with the whole Adam situation.
The only thing I'll say is about her character specifically, and I think she actually is the weakest of the 4. I feel like they just reverted her almost exactly back to her volume 3 counterpart, like after the trauma. Like especially at this point, now that Adam's dead, like she has like literally nothing to worry about. I feel like she's gonna just revert back to even though like now she like fights better, but you have to understand like she still acts the same way theoretically, right?
Wait, but like okay, you remember Yang going to the bar in volume 2,
and fucking shit up.
Now look at the way she acted, her demeanor, the way she talked, and now look at her. It's a completely different character, and it's not development. It's we forgot.
She's definitely not as chatty as she used to be, for sure. I could definitely see that.
I don't think anyone is.
I think Weiss is the only one that is stuck through.
The cast is a lot more contained now. Like, think about the environment they were at in, like, school when there's, like, way more people to, like, talk to about casual things.
No, I think their linchpin of their argument is that because we are not in a school setting anymore, the characters won't get to shine as much, essentially, right?
That's not. I don't think it needed to stay in school.
No, I think
it could have gone out.
But you said that's how they set up their characters.
Because that's how the show started.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's how the show started. But think about here we go. Good example is the series that already did RWBY, but great, Harry Potter. Think about it. They set up the school infrastructure exactly like they did in RWBY. These great characters that had great chemistry off of each other in a school environment.
Yes.
And hey, shit got fucked up and they had to leave the school and go on an adventure, right? And go on an adventure across country. They were still them. No, it wasn't. It was great. They were still.
Okay, now we're getting into super personal opinion and not really objective fact anymore.
Yeah, but okay. Regardless of opinion, you see what I'm saying, right? They did the exact same thing.
I see what you believe. I see what you believe. I see
where
your belief is coming from.
You know what I see?
What do you see?
What do you see? Are you looking at Neo? Is that what you see?
That's what I see. No, RWBY is the crimes of Miles and Carrie.
No, leave them alone.
Leave them alone.
Do not mention.
Do not invoke the Miles.
I don't think it, like, and I said this before the volume, and I'll say it again, I don't think it's their fault. I think it's that there's not enough checks and balances in Rooster Teeth.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, think about the production team behind all this that we don't see. They make a lot of creative decisions.
Honestly, they probably make a lot. Like, because I'm sure, like, Miles and Carrie's script goes through some kind of editing process, and also people that, like, you know...
It does, like, that's the thing, though. It feels like it used to go through an editing process, and now it doesn't.
I don't know. I don't think we should say stuff about... I don't think we should say stuff about this because, in truth, we have zero idea how it works. So it's kind of saying it's kind of feels shitty to talk about that.
I would be interested to actually
in knowing their process. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can agree with that.
Yeah. What I'm saying, so here's what I'm saying though. I'm fine with being critical about the show, but at the same time, I think that it is important to say that I have faith that it's actually improving. It legitimately, you can see the growth.
I'll say my piece. I like disagree completely because like every time there's a new episode, I'd come home like I want to watch RWBY right now. I'm still excited for the story because I love all the characters, and maybe they're. I don't know. I guess I just see things differently. That's all I'll say.
I think it is on a, like, positive incline. However, it's so much lower than it was previously that it's a little bit painful to even, like, will it even catch up before it ends?
Also think about how you guys experienced 1 through 3. Like, I experienced it in, like, a complete, like, blaze. Like...
Yeah,
all the episodes within like I think I watched them all within like a 12-hour span.
I don't think you've actually seen volume 1 through 3 more than twice. Even maybe twice.
No, I think I've seen one. Yeah, exactly, maybe twice. I think not even that.
Yeah.
So I don't really. This is the first time experiencing new episodes like as I'm supposed to be watching them was started at 4. So I guess I'd have a different like idea about what RWBY is.
But the thing is, I've seen it as much as they have, and I share a similar opinion to you. So I don't know.
I think the piece of RWBY that's going to go down like in like the history books in their legacy is going to be 1 through 3 and maybe 4 because those are the ones that are on YouTube. Is 5 even on YouTube? I don't even remember.
It is. 6 is the only one not on YouTube.
I think it's gonna be remembered for 1 through 3 as like that's the really good part, and you can watch it on YouTube. Like, actually, I don't know how long that's gonna be true.
I think going back, I think like Jen, you were definitely talking about the way you could see RWBY, and I definitely see how that could definitely shape opinion differently because. I know for a fact my opinion was shaped very differently because of the way I watched. Like, for example, I've been watching weekly. Like, I caught up the day Volume 2 started, so I've been watching weekly since the first episode of Volume 2. But the Volume 3 experience, where an episode like especially the latter half of Volume 3, an episode would come out, and then that week or 2 weeks if there was a hiatus would just be like talking about nothing else but that episode. It'd be like I remember being like on like Skype with you, Zach, or like on the phone for like hours, like theorizing about this episode, and like just thinking about what was going to happen. We did all these theory casts. We were like talking about it so intensely, and then I would watch the episode like 10 times in the week, and then a new episode would come out and be like, holy shit, and then it would be the cycle over again. Now it's just the episode comes out and airs, and then like a lot of times it was like, yeah, I guess we have to record this, and then like we record it. And it's, like,
just for setup, we've been trying to record this podcast for probably like 2 weeks.
Here's the thing, actually.
Yeah, no, this podcast I was excited to record.
Let me actually butt in for a second, Josh. Like piggyback off what you were saying. Here's honestly, do you want to know what my theory is on why we're not like as hyped about it as we used to be?
Sure.
We have a lot more information than we used to. Does that make sense?
We didn't need to. We didn't need to know everything. They didn't need to dump it on us in these giant word dumps.
The thing is, like
those are so good episodes.
The problem is that now we are so engrossed in the world and the lore and stuff where there's no questions anymore. We don't have to like question it. We like, oh, what's a maiden? Oh, we know what a maiden is. You know, like when volume 3 had a lot of those like little like fish hooks where it was just like, oh, what's a maiden? What's this? What's that? What are the theories and stuff like that? And like, what's the master plan and stuff? But like after volume 3, now we know who Salem is, what the relics are. You know, like all Osmond's all shtick. Like he's the wizard. All that stuff. Like those are all theories that we talked about because we didn't know for a fact. Now we do. So now
yes,
if that is true,
that's the problem.
If that is true,
not the problem. We know it now. That the show is
no. It's great like that we know this. It would be great if we knew this and the show was entering like the last volume or two. Like we have so much left to go and we know everything.
Consider that this is not an issue with us, like us losing interest because we know everything. Maybe this is an issue with how the information was presented too quickly.
Yes.
Or maybe you would tell it in a different way that was not so like straightforward. Maybe a way that was unreliable.
Such as
instead of having a full episode that shows the like. As good as the episode is, like, that shows visually exactly what happened.
Okay,
have people who are not necessarily reliable mention things that happen
about it, yeah.
Or have
have Hazel or not Hazel, have like Cinder or something. It's like you don't even know like he betrayed her and stuff like that, and then like they did give like little breadcrumbs. Like the villains just like randomly mention it.
You can do the fully animated explanations later towards the end when it's wrapping up, and you don't need to ask any more questions. But at this point, when it's possibly going on for like another 6 volumes, which it definitely isn't, but it was supposed to go on for like another 6, that just seems like a major misstep in pacing.
Yes.
I mean, we don't know what story is left to be told. Like, we have no idea.
They have one relic out of 4.
I assume it's gonna be Atlas War with Vacuo, and then like
it could be entering the Naruto Ninja War arc. We have no idea.
I mean, the worst arc.
Baby, you don't know about the
It doesn't matter. I know.
He doesn't know.
I know.
It's okay. Like, yeah, like I think what we're building up to right now is that Vacuo is going to attack Atlas. There's going to be a big war, and then the background of that war, they're going to have to beat Salem to stop the war. And I think that's the rest of the show.
Actual thing about the finale. What were the fucking
Yeah, we got to talk
flying
about
monkeys?
the episode.
Oh wait, it's 30 minutes and we haven't even talked about the episode. Oh yeah,
okay,
the flying
let's
monkeys.
save that for the end because I have an ending point like about the flying monkeys.
He wants to do that for the end.
I have
sort of.
I have a prediction for what they are.
I mean,
what's your prediction?
I think they're gonna be fucking nothing. I think they're gonna be. I think she's gonna be like, get them, flying monkey Grim, and then they're gonna slice them all down.
No. There's this part in Kingdom Hearts 3 where you like these like flying Heartless. Like I think like Ruby's gonna attach herself to one of them, and then she's gonna like cut them up from like the volume monkey.
But no, I think in truth, I think they're gonna be entirely inconsequential.
Do you guys want to go through the episode?
I don't even remember what happened in the episode.
Like
I have
I will
notes,
admit,
so I can
basically nothing happened.
I don't give a
Nothing.
fuck.
Okay.
We
No,
saw some
I
cool.
watched the last
was,
two
like-
back to back again because I realized that was the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you shouldn't
I
be
have
watching.
notes. Yes.
I have very few things to say about the episode.
I feel like you shouldn't like that. The last episode shouldn't be watched by itself ever.
Ever.
Yeah, you should always hold the second to last episode for a while. Although I guess the RWBY Twitter loves to spoil their episodes now,
Yeah.
so
Shows Adam when we didn't know he was in the episode in the thumb. Adam's back.
yeah.
Fucking shit.
God.
Yeah. So I have some notes here that like I sort of broke down the episode in my notes.
Okay,
And
okay.
So the crux of this episode is the whole Silver Eyes thing, which was so close to being incredible. It was so close. But like there's no reason it couldn't have worked the first time. First of all, there's no reason why she needed to stop get Jin out there, because Jin didn't provide anything new to the story. She just said, "I'll let you do it this time," and then left.
It feels like they were answering fans being like, "Oh, just stop time whenever you want to." Like,
yes, and then they were so close to doing it again. She finally gets it, and they had Summer, and it was the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I was screaming. It was so good, and then it doesn't work.
Yeah,
The
that was
monster
weird.
breaks out. Are you fucking kidding me? And
Well,
then it defeated everything. And they had to do the Gurren Lagann thing. Oh, because Monty liked Gurren Lagann, so we're gonna do the Gurren Lagann thing. But
please
I'm
watch
not gonna lie,
Genlock.
I was
Please,
kinda into the
please
Gurren
watch
Lagann
Genlock.
thing.
I was into it too visually, but it's so dumb for what they were trying to do with that scene.
I feel
almost
like
are you
that-
kidding me?
I feel like that character is another like Volume 5 circle, like final fight. The fucking I don't remember her name, but that
Cordova.
related, yeah,
Cordova.
Cordova. She is the
She's
worst.
insane.
I really liked her when they first talked to her. She is one of the worst characters they've ever had in this entire show.
She goes from being so set on them not leaving that she breaks out a giant mech to kill kids to yeah, you can go.
Yeah, you can go.
Which
Yeah, you
I'm
can go.
hoping what happened that they show in Volume 7 is she betrayed them and told the military that they were going to be there.
Maybe.
That's
I think we're theorizing.
Like
I think we're theorizing too much for this writing.
No, but I know, but like, I hate that she went like heel face turn so quickly. Like they should have just like kept her an asshole.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But but when she was activating the Silver Eyes though, like then she was showing all the shots, I was like, oh my god,
That was really good.
this is it.
Yeah.
That was so good. But yeah, and then of course they're flying away on the plane. It's all great. Oscar, big twist. Ozpin's a good guy. Who would have thought?
Oh my fucking god. I'm done with
Enough
it.
about Ozpin with it. You're
Guys.
Stop being an Ozpin stan.
Lying to people is wrong.
Oh my god.
I'm not saying he did anything wrong in particular, but he was misleading, and that's not okay.
One of the oldest people on Earth. Like there's it's Salem and him, right? The two oldest people on Earth by far versus a bunch of 16-year-olds. Are you going to literally tell them the entire truth and nothing but the truth? Or are you going
You
to
should if you
obscure
expect
it?
them to die for it.
You should.
I mean, he told them most of it.
I honestly don't see how this logic is flawed. Like, literally, if Josh, if I told you I need you to die right now and I didn't give you a good fucking reason to, or lied to you about it,
but he's giving them a good reason.
Not only it's not like maybe they think that he is possibly that he's possibly pulling one over on them. Like, they saw that he is literally the manifestation of the good god. He was brought back to life.
Okay, first of all, the god of light.
Counterpart of the bad.
Hold on. Is that
That was the reason why he was resurrected.
The light god is not a good person. He's not a good guy.
That's true. He's Jen's right. Asshole.
That's true. Sure, but he was brought back to life with the sole intention of stopping Salem. And they have seen that. They've seen that from a source that they know is objective fact. They've seen it with their own eyes. How can you deny that?
No,
they're not denying it. They're pissed off that they were leading. He was leading them into a battle that they pretty much couldn't have won.
They were pissed off that Jin had to tell them all that information and not Oscar.
Does no one have the critical thinking capacity to, when he asked, "How can I beat Salem?" and then Jin says, "You can't."
No. I'm not saying
not make the next logical step to say maybe he can't.
It really boils down to
because they're not watching an anime, Josh.
Okay.
It's just real for them.
It feels like this is an anime now because
they don't know about genie rules. Okay.
Because in this show they had this thing. Hold on, shut the fuck up, shut up. They had this thing where it's like these are the worst kept secrets, and it was you had to sort of imagine that you were the characters to understand the feeling. When it's they didn't know Blake was a faunus, even though it was painfully obvious, right? But you had to sort of sympathize with the characters, but it didn't go on for that long, and they didn't really do anything negative in relation to it. It was just it was an ignorance. It wasn't a active malice. This is the same situation where it's you clearly see where the writing is going, and you just have to act like the characters, you know it, and the characters don't know it, and you have to act like you don't know it, like the characters, but they are and also when they malicious.
And also when they pretended not to know it, when they had to not know it, it was only on short spurts. You know what I mean? It's it didn't take too long for the thing we knew to come to fruition and then be oh, we know it, maybe a couple episodes. Now it's how long is it going to go before they realize they can beat Salem? Are they ever going to realize it, or is it just going to happen?
They wouldn't be trying if they didn't think they could do it, right? Theoretically.
No, I think they're just trying because they don't know what to do anymore.
I think it's going to be a stressful.
We better go through with it.
I think it's going to be a stressful situation, and there's going to be a vivid flashback of her leaning in and going, "You can't," and then Ruby's going to be "What if someone else can?" And then she's going to rub the lamp, and she's going to be "Who can stop Salem?" And then she's going to be
"You." You. I swear, if that actually happens, I'm gonna scream if that's actually what happens.
It's literally gonna happen.
I think it's gonna throw it there's gonna be it's not gonna be a subtle realization. It's just gonna be the biggest grand genie activating crazy realization. But yeah,
I think I can see them doing the flashback. Because people are not gonna remember the exact wording, and they're gonna be this is a fucking stupid. This is a stupid twist.
But anyway, it's not about whether or not it's petty. The fact of the matter is, it's reasonable to be upset at someone when they lie to you. It is. It just is on a base level.
Even when you know that they are objective opposition to all of the bad in the world.
It's almost gray morality
that they may know way more than you do.
But it's
almost like they're teenagers.
But do you listen to everything? Do you listen to everything?
It's almost like they don't operate 100% on logic.
And do you listen to your parents 100% of the time? Your parents aren't always right. It might not have been.
Okay.
You know, your parents lied to you. Are you mad at them? Are you like constantly
sometimes
like?
I am. Sometimes my mom is fucking stupid.
My parents lied to me when I was a fucking 4-year-old.
Also, Alberto's mom, don't watch this podcast.
Huh?
It's mom. Sometimes you're fucking wrong. Like 10% of the time you're wrong.
Okay. Think about the like ratio of ages. Ozpin is like millions of years old or whatever, hundreds of thousands. At least thousands, and they're like 16.
Yes.
And so like they're pretty much infants compared to him. Would you be mad at your parents for lying to you if you asked them something when you were like a really small child?
Here's what I'm trying to say. Ozpin has built up these defenses and these heuristics for like how he deals with people. He treats people the same way because he feels like he's seen everybody. But I feel like every situation should be approached uniquely. And I think his problem is he always assumes stuff. Like, he's always like, oh, this is how this thing worked, like, 5 times ago, so I'm assuming that it's going to just be the same.
Is it... Okay, is it...
Does that make sense?
I can't remember... Yes, I can't remember if it's this show or a different show. I can't remember from Confusing Series. But is this one where, an old person has said, I've seen the same eyes in different people?
Yes, he's... I think he's said that in this show, but
this
I also
was
think...
This show?
I think
couldn't remember if it was this or Game of Thrones.
No, it wasn't Game of Thrones. It was a different show, actually. Because I remember that quote.
Yeah, it's like I see the same eyes in different people, and it might even be One Piece, I don't know. It's the whole concept of you've been around long enough, you see the same patterns in people.
Yeah, and I don't think
that's what Ozpin is acting on, of course, but, like, obviously he just sees Team Stark again, and he doesn't care, but, like...
Maybe I, like, have the benefit of being a viewer of the show, but I feel like even if I were in that situation, I would realize, like, you know, maybe he's been around for a really long time. Maybe he knows something that I don't.
Yes.
And
it doesn't.
It's not about knowing things.
It's about telling me. Tell me the answer.
Why do you think as a mortal? Why do you think as a mortal you need all of the knowledge of an immortal?
If he's asking me to go out and die for something, yes.
I would like any information possible to beat Salem at all.
You don't. You don't need to do it.
I have to say something. Alberto and Jen, you guys are right, 100%. You definitely have logic here. But what I'm going to say is the fact that watching these events play out, we watched this, and then we got upset when they treated it in this way after and be like, what the fuck is this? The fact that we had that reaction means that clearly they did something wrong with the writing.
Or something that you personally didn't like about the writing.
We could be perfectly logical, like, we could, like, see the logic in their behavior and be like, okay, I'm gonna, like, they're acting, they're kids, they're acting idiot, like, that's fine, it definitely makes sense. But what I'm saying is if it gets us this riled up, something's off.
I think it's just very divisive, very, like, polarizing. For people who see different point of views, which I think is good writing.
Yeah, that's definitely fair, and I think it's also the fact that we've been watching shows for so many years, that the fact that we see this selfless man that's gone thousands and thousands of years just being like this absolute selfless hero, sacrificing all happiness for one cause. We see that, and we're like, we've seen all these shows. We know he's like a pure good guy, only trying to help.
I think
the
I
fact
said
that
this.
They don't see that frustrates us. But it's also like we're not them. We're just watchers. We're viewers.
This is true.
I think I said this on the episode where John beats up a child.
Yes.
That like
iconic.
that maybe I don't think I'm necessarily as upset at the writing as I am upset at the characters. Like maybe they're just being like dumbass teenagers.
To be fair to you, you have to think about it. Like, John's girlfriend died because of information that or information or something he could have done. Like, even if he couldn't do anything.
No. The whole realization that he had was that he couldn't have done anything, and that she was just being a huntress to the end. The whole realization that he had was that wasn't why she died.
No, he's
That was
the
his
right.
whole
What
arc
could he
of volume.
possibly have said?
No,
that
here's the
would've-
thing. He was mad for the same reason everybody else was mad, but John takes it personally because he has lost someone really close to him. You know what I'm saying?
But then he realized that he was being dumb.
Exactly. I'm saying.
No, he realized he was being dumb not because of what he was mad about, but because of you had laughed out at Oscar.
Which is not okay.
That's why he was
He
upset.
didn't decide-
He's probably still pissed off at Ozpin,
Which
but he
is
laughed out
fucking
at Oscar, and that's
stupid.
But
why
he
it's
shouldn't
regretful. Okay, now we're just going on a different conversation entirely. Why are you watching magic videos while we're recording? So
I am.
I'll watch One Piece while we're recording too.
I am
Okay.
I'm decided that they will realize that he is objectively correct later in the show, and they will apologize.
I think we just have to agree to disagree about this, because I think
No, I think they are going to go back and apologize. They're going to be like, "We're so sorry, Ozpin. We didn't realize we were being so dumb. Like, we want your help, please." And then he's going to be like,
I don't know.
Okay.
I think it's going to be more complicated than that. But...
Honestly, my big theory right now is that Oscar and Ozpin are already fused.
Yes,
I'll be
that's what I
super
think
sad
too.
if that actually. I want by the end of the
think that's
series.
exactly what happened.
I've been saying that since she switched clothes.
Yeah, same. I can feel it. I think Oscar's
I don't
party.
want that.
I think Oscar. I don't. The thing is, like, why all of a sudden is he just gone? Like, that just seems so suspicious. Like, there's no way.
I think he was planning on staying as like a mentor for a little while longer, so he could talk to everyone and everything and keep things going. But then when he realized that no one was wanted him to be there and they were gonna take it out on this kid, he's just like, "Fuck, I got to assimilate right now." And he just assimilated.
Does he have control
and it was
over
so.
that?
I'm assuming.
It was
We're just assuming
it was
at this
so
point, we have no clue.
seamless. Yeah, we're all assuming, but yeah, it was so seamless that Oscar doesn't even realize it.
That's
He
so
already
insane.
knows what he has to do. He knows everything. It's not like he isn't able to carry out the mission because Ozpin's gone. It's just in there.
If I had to
might be
guess,
the same person.
if I had to guess on mechanics, how I would write it, whenever he hangs back, that's him merging into his mind, and when he comes forward, that's him switching into active gear and no longer doing the merging, right? So when he's I'm out, he's going full on into osmosis mode, where he's like, all right, now we're
Osmosis. That's so funny.
no, he's
Osmosis Jones. That's his newest form.
Dude,
Ozma, Ozpin, Oscar, Osmosis Jones.
He's gonna start invading cells soon.
Okay, so have we talked about everything we want to before the post-credit scene? Okay,
Wait.
so this post-credit scene.
I forgot there was a post-credit scene. I had to reopen the
mirror
episode.
how it started.
What'd
I
you
heard
say?
something about the scene. This scene mirrors the start of either this volume or is it volume 4?
I think it was. I don't remember.
4, right? I don't know. I think 4 started with Salem. I don't remember.
I heard something about that.
I feel
that was my only thing
4.
I had left to say. Hey, take out my earpiece.
Okay, so the post credit scene. I was watching this and I'm like, this is dumb. Flying monkeys and everything. But Hazel came out and said something that gave me a profound epiphany.
Yeah.
He said, "There's a saying." He says, "What was the line?" He says,
"Hoes be
if
crazy."
You want something done, if you want something done right, you should do it yourself.
Right.
And I realized he's right. If I want RWBY done right, I have to do it myself.
Stop.
And that is why I am announcing my new project, my new novel project.
Cut it.
Rebuild of no.
Rebuild
of RWBY. Listen to this.
An
I'm serious.
unauthorized fan novel.
It's not a bit. It's not a bit.
I want to read
really
this. I want to read it.
Yes. Okay. So it is Rebuild of RWBY, and essentially volumes 1. I love volume 4, but I'm cutting it out. Volumes 1 through 3 are canon. Those are the first 3 books. They're done. They're out there right now. You can watch volumes 1 through 3, and then if you're gonna follow my canon, volume 3 was the last volume, and I am going to start writing Rebuild RWBY Volume 4, and I want to know right now who is with me. Who is going to join me on this adventure?
I'm fine with there being a supplemental product, honestly.
Yeah, obviously, I think this is just the best way for me to approach RWBY, where if I look at the main show that's going on right now as, hey, this is what could have been, but my thing is what I see as the continuation.
It's really just like a really long fan fiction. But
I must say, this is just a fix-it fic, Josh.
I would be interested if you were to write like a novel.
It's like how Digi rewrote Sword Art Online. That's what I'm.
You know what I really want to do? I really want to rewrite Legend of Korra. I want to fix it. It's so easy.
That's a good idea. So yeah, you see, Hazel inspiring people, man. Hazel came out, and he said that, and I'm like, holy shit. It took me a couple of rewatches to have this epiphany, but like a couple of days ago when I messaged you guys, said we need to record this.
Was that
right when I had that epiphany? I just rewatched it, and he came out. He said, you know what they say? If you want something done right, you should do it yourself. And I'm like,
what's your
right, Hazel?
I mean, I'll read it. I'll definitely read.
What's your fanfiction.net account, Josh?
Ruby's on archive.
Your archive of our own account.
Okay. New version. They're all ponies.
What's your fanfiction,
Josh? Going up on Equestria Daily. Anyway.
YGS every Friday.
Oh God.
Thanks, guys, for joining us for this.
Thank you for watching the last RWBY podcast. It's been fun.
Advertisement for...
I know. We're many weeks late
for Rebuild of RWBY.
Cut it.
Go watch Gemlock.
Shut it off. Stop recording. Everybody stop recording.
You know what? I like RWBY.
I think I'm gonna keep going. So anyway, guys. RWBY Volume 6 was a whole commercial for Genlock. That's it.